Hello, how are you? Welcome to Critical Moves of Telesur. We are now following the route of the Solidarity route. This is the road to the solidarity of sovereignty, about the first ships that arrived to Venezuela with all the additives. This is what we're going to be reflecting on. How has the process been? What are the reflections? What is the symbolism of this act? Let's analyze this and begin. After having touched a Venezuelan port and having entered the forest, second one, to the jurisdictional waters of Venezuela, both the authorities of Iran and Venezuela have expressed themselves. The Fortune boat has arrived, the first of 5 boats. They are carried with gasoline and supplies to make gasoline in Venezuela from a comprehensive agreement that we have with Iran. We are 2 Pacific countries, and what we're trying to attain is our own development. 2 countries that are rebels, revolutionary. And we're not going to bend down to the imperialism of the United States. Never. We have the right to commercialize freely in the seas of the world, in the airs of the world, in the skies of the world. Among us, among Venezuela and Iran, we can exchange products. We can buy products, sell products. I would like to thank all of those boats that are arriving to the ports of Venezuela, bringing the necessary additives and the gasoline and equipment that we need to raise the capacity of refineries and produce oil. A country that is under siege like Venezuela, it's blocked. Well, we can't see this then from a humanitarian point of view. As the Chinese philosophy says, we have to see the world as a common house. This is the message that these boats bring to all of us Venezuelans. The entire world wanted to. This is a respect to the international covenant. All of the Latin American countries can be benefited by the respect of the international agreements. So, this victory belongs to everybody. Additionally, in a special way, to Iran and Venezuela. Today, with the National Service of Refinery, with all of these supplies that come, we will be able to start again with our normal lives. So the companies of food production, of car production, we can carry on. So the working class can carry on. And this chargement of fuel is a token of solidarity. Iran, Venezuela, the route of solidarity.
Las mal llamadas sanciones impuestas por el gobierno de Estados Unidos contra Venezuela se han intensificado en medio de la pandemia por COVID-19. Por consiguiente, la nación bolivariana ha presentado dificultades en el suministro de combustible. En este contexto, la República Islámica de Irán, en un gesto de solidaridad, ha enviado 5 buques petroleros cargados de gasolina y otros químicos indispensables para la refinación del crudo venezolano. El cargamento está valorado en al menos $45,5 millones. Los buques fueron cargados en la refinería Persian Gulf Star, cerca de la ciudad iraní de Bandar Abbas. La ruta inició en el Golfo Pérsico, luego atravesó la península arábiga para adentrarse en el Canal de Suez, que los conduce al mar Mediterráneo. Allí cruzaron el estrecho de Gibraltar para acceder luego al Océano Atlántico y de ahí a aguas del Mar Caribe para llegar finalmente a las costas venezolanas.
And finally
El
to
buque
the
Fortune
Venezuelan
fue el primero en
coast.
arribar a aguas
The
territoriales
first one that arrived was
el
the
sábado
Fortune
23 de mayo.
on this
Luego,
May
siguió su curso
23rd.
hasta atracar
Then it
en el
went
puerto de la
all the way to
refinería
the
El Palito,
port
en
of El
Puerto
Palito
Cabello,
in
Estado
Puerto Cabello,
Carabobo,
of
con un
state of
cargamento
Carabobo,
de 1,5 millones de
with a
barriles
load
de gasolina
of more than 5 million barrels of gasoline. The second boat, Forest, is now already in Venezuelan territorial waters, while the other three, Clavel, Flaxen, and Petunia, will arrive in the upcoming weeks. The National Armed Forces has been escorting these vessels. After knowing about the sentiment to Venezuela, the White House began to evaluate new measures against Tehran. We must recall that last April, the government of Donald Trump, under the excuse of fighting terrorism, has displayed the fourth sea force near Venezuela.
And
our correspondent, Madeleine Garcia, followed this route step by step. I want to, she is now with us, and she wants to comment. Hi, Ray. It is not just to say that this is the route of solidarity. For example, the ambassador of Iran in Venezuela said that it's the first time that Iran, his country, has exported fuel to this part of the continent. And you pay love with love. Let's not forget that some years before with Hugo Chavez, when they didn't have enough fuel in that country due to the measures, unilateral economic measures imposed by the United States, it was a difficult moment for Iran, and Venezuela sent their boats. So this is just payback. The ambassador also said that precise moment symbolized how both countries obligated the United States to respect the international law. These are two countries that have been under siege and threatened, and nevertheless they carried out their freedom of navigation and commercialization beyond any type of threats. Another thing that was very symbolic, because everything was full of symbolism, is that, for example, the patrol Jequana and all of the other, the Venezuelan armed forces, and the act of going to the international waters and meeting the Iranian boats means the self-determination of Venezuela, so they can have their face up, they can face forward regardless of the threats. This is a very important symbol that Iran has also taken like this, that a military boat has gone to escort the Iranian boats. So this same connotation, the same message going through jurisdictional waters of Venezuela, and we have therefore marked a very important standpoint, and that we are saying that Venezuela and Iran must keep their head held up high so they can advance in defending their rights. So what is happening now, we were informed that the Fortune ship that is in El Palito refinery is unloading all of the fuel. This is going to be like 40 hours. And then there will be distribution on a national level. And this will be the same with all of the rest of the boats that will be arriving in the upcoming days and weeks. Today, the Petunia will arrive, and it's going to be in a couple of moments when the Venezuelan armed forces will meet these boats that are coming from Iran. These are a very important symbolism for the Iranian government, that the Venezuelan armed forces is escorting them all the way to Venezuelan territory. And on Monday, it is expected to the last boat to arrive, and this would be the end of this operation and this important solidarity mission. Well, apparently everything is very well coordinated. Thank you very much, Madeleine Garcia. She's our correspondent in Venezuela. So let's go to a pause, and let's not forget that you can participate with us in the question of the day. It is the relationships between Iran and Venezuela are strengthened with the arrival of these boats to Venezuela. How does this geopolitical move influence the relation? We'll be right back.
Quiero agradecer desde el corazón
from the bottom of my heart
más noble y sensible del pueblo de Venezuela,
of the people of Venezuela, to the people of the Republic of the Islamic Republic of Iran, to the President Rouhani, my friend and companion, to the Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, a follower of the historical Ayatollah Khomeini, and to all of Iran from the bottom of our hearts, for their solidarity, for their support. The day that Ramadan ended, the sacred month of our brother Muslim, the Fortune boat has arrived, the first of 5 that are bringing gasoline and supplies to make gasoline in Venezuela, from a comprehensive agreement of cooperation that we maintain with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Let's begin the analysis and our critical moves from Lebanon. We have Mrs. Ibrahim. She's an advisor in Al-Madayin. Thank you for being with us today. We would like to know, how do you see it from the Middle East, this support of Iran with Venezuela? Hello, Ray. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody. The fact is that this is a historical event in all of the sense of the word. Iran, with this step, has shown that they have not retracted of their support to the international laws and to the right of the people to join together and to exchange and have the right to free navigation. Iran, when you think that they're being blocked or that they have decided to stand still, but that's not so. Iran always grows in moments such as these, moments of crisis, and they show that they are practically, and more than ever, they are the queens and kings of the straits and the seas. And there's where we see that the international security of Iran is part, even at high seas. Iran, for the Arabs and for the people of the Middle East, they have seen that Iran has been able to shoot 2 birds with 1 shot. One, going against the blockade, the energetic blockade against Venezuela, and at the same time, they have broken their own blockade. These sanctions that were imposed by the same empire, which is the American one. And this has been greatly appreciated by the other peoples because the courage with which Venezuela and Iran have worked, that they have nerves of steel and a cold head. They're always been kept calm. Iran has studied each step of the way. This has not just been an adventure. Everything has been meticulously studied, and both countries have. And they have showed all of the countries of the South and all of those countries who are victims of this destiny, of this. What they've shown is that a blockade is not a destiny, that we have to give up and we have to resignate ourselves. We need a lot of courage and a firm decision, and to go by the international legality. It's just when Ramadan is coming to an end. There is also some symbolism there. There is putting an end to the starving, to the fastening. This is so. And the Islamic people, who are not only the ones of Middle East, all of the Islamic people around the world have seen in this gesture a gesture of greatness and of faith, because in the Muslim religion, Ramadan is to share the bread you have with your neighbor, and especially if somebody that you know and that needs it, you have to, and according to the mandates of the religion, you have to share, because otherwise you can't even enjoy what you're eating, because you have to give part of what you have. Iran is very firm in these principles. I think that the faith, I think the principles in general, like the ones of Comandante Chavez, because he himself helped Iran at very difficult moments that they were having in this energetic field. And he told, here I am, Iran, tell me, how can I help you? Just like Jose Marti did with Venezuela. And he said, well, we need petroleum. And he had no problem in supporting Iran. This is why Iran is just being reciprocal in this generous act, because now the risks of nowadays, there was a high sea flame that was supposed to ignite a whole fire on behalf of the United States. However, this has gone through that coincides with the movement of this float, that there is a political virus in the United States, and that the United States is restarting a new war. I think that coinciding with this is to say to the United States, hey, the times have changed. Now there is an international axis that is going by the international law and to the rights of the people, and they also have interests. And United States no longer has a backyard. Why? Because there is a Venezuela that is demanding their sovereignty, that they will not give up their sovereignty. And I am the friend of my friend, and I will not give in to the pressures. They are giving an example that the confrontation today worldwide is not the same, and the rule is that everywhere, wherever it may be, at high seas, in the skies, wherever, or on land, and what is necessary is that we have to abide by our principles. Well, Fica, thank you very much for your words to Telesur and for Jugada Crítica. See you soon. She was from Lebanon. So let's go to our first pause. Let's not forget that you can participate with us through the question of the day. The strengthening of the relations between Iran and Venezuela with the arrival of the Persian boats to the Bolivarian nation, does this have an influence, a geopolitical influence on all of the victims of this situation? We'll be right back.
From here to beyond the South. From here to the Caribbean or further north. Where can I see this connecting the whole South? From Washington. From Mexico. From Caracas. From Quito. From Havana. You can always see the news from a new vision, connecting the global South. Only on Telesur.
¿Qué tal? Sean todos muy bienvenidos a Vidas. Hay lugares donde el arte se unifica con el orgullo de los pueblos. Y esos lugares están llenos de colores, alegría, pasión, tradiciones, arraigo, valor y entrega.
Real Life. Fridays. Only on Telesur.
Venezuela has been called by the U.S. government as a threat to their national security. This alleged has opened coercive measures and unilateral measures, as well as blockade on behalf of the White House to this country. Let's review this.
The
Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the Muslim Republic of Iran has a consolidation of a multi-centric and multi-axis relationship among people. This goes against the interests of the United States, both in Latin America as well as in the Middle East. Iran and Venezuela are seen as rivals of the Washington White House, and they have applied coercive measures and unilateral measures that go right against their industrial sector. Iran has been an object of impositions of illegal sanctions that have increased with the arrival of Donald Trump and after the ousting of the U.S. of the nuclear agreement. Let's not forget that this also was among the two countries and the G+5. After the assassination of Hassan Soleimani, the relationship went even worse. This was amidst of an attack of U.S. arms forces. The hostile activities against Venezuela are also trying to be blackmail, trying to destabilize. There has been mercenaries invasions and attempts of coup d'etat, sabotage, as well as trying to kill the president. In all of their attempts to discredit both nations, the Department of State has included them in the list of countries that allegedly do not collaborate against terrorism. This condition has gone Iran has also has as a conclusion to have more sanctions. Let's begin our second part of the analysis. As we saw it before, we have two experts. And we have Gabriela Aguirre, Secretary of the Solidarity Committee with Venezuela. I would like to thank you both to coming to the studios of Telesur. We are having social distancing. Bassem, I was talking with Wafika, with Lebanon. All of the symbolism that the arrival to safe ports of Venezuela, of these floats that are loaded not only of gasoline and additives and pieces and parts that are needed to restart the refinery of Venezuela, they also come with solidarity. And maybe the political and the symbolic act is the most important thing. The fact that Iran has able to defy and overcome a criminal blockade, that they have defied the imperialism and their threats, and they said that they were going to bombard these oil carriers. That would have been terrible for the United States themselves, because it's because Iran is a strong power. They have strategic power that they could have a similar damage or even worse in the Middle East. The United States said that they were going to reinforce their presence in the Venezuelan coasts. And they said okay, try it. But so, this symbolic political act, this defiance and the victory, this policy against the blockade, this act that the West does not understand, because with all of their studies and all of their tanks, they do not understand. And people who know about the Muslim culture, for example, Iran is a Persian country, but with Muslim religion, they don't know what joins all of these people, the Muslim and the Arab. This is solidarity and friendship. The value of friendship among the Arab countries and Persian countries is something very important, very important. For a friend, you're willing to give your life. You're willing to shed your blood. A friend is your brother, and even more, a friend that such as the one as Venezuela is. Let's not forget, in 2008, 2009, Iran also had difficulties, such as the ones Venezuela have now, just when the blockade would begin. And Venezuela opened their hands and went to help. Iran does not forget that. The Iranian people does not forget. Venezuela. President Chavez was for Iran a leader, very respected, very beloved. And that value of friendship and respect to this lost leader is very important now. So for Iran, this was an obligation, even a moral obligation to say so, to help Venezuela in this case, that comes as a product of what we've already spoken of. Venezuela, unfortunately, depends on the technology of the West, the U.S., France, the UK, and with the sanctions, they're not able to have access to these technologies. And they need to give maintenance to the refineries, and they need additives to produce gasoline. This is so they need to give maintenance like 3 to 6 months, and therefore, since they can't buy them, you have to see other type of technology. You have to dismantle what you have, put new technology. In this case, Iran, with their experience, was able to develop a technology of their own. We need are catalysts, and they have them. And now, with the Iranian capacity, we're going to be able to do so. Now, Gabriel, this will change the geopolitics of the world, this act of the Iranian floats coming to the Venezuelan coast. Yes, in fact, I think this is going to be a reconfiguration of the geopolitical powers. Amidst the COVID-19, we see that China and Russia are still determining our important factors in the world, but we cannot lose from the perspective of Iran, which is a power of the Middle East, that they are strong enough to go again, to even overcome the sanctions that have been imposed systematically on behalf of the United States. But they also have the military structure. They are able to defend themselves and dissuade any recurring threats on behalf of the United States. The fact that, how one of our experts has said, Iran has put to the service of Venezuela almost half of their oil carriers. Well, let's not forget that Iran is among the 5 largest producers of oil in the world, and they have a very important place in the international economic chart. And being able to support Venezuela in conditions that are so hard, this could be the beginning of the end to the sanctions that the United States has imposed, and this way of hegemonic control, where other countries that are also victims of the U.S., like North Korea, Nicaragua, Cuba, and other countries, will see the necessity to start to find exchange mechanisms where our countries can understand that we don't necessarily have to pass through the financial and economic structures of the U.S., but that we are sovereign, and that we must put it effective that when we defend the sovereignty and independence and the self-determination of our people, in the same dimension, our countries are willing and should break progressively these ties of these unilateral impositions. This has been the call not only of these countries, but of other international structures to which the United States doesn't really respect, like United Nations, or the High Commissioner for Human Rights, or other instances who have spoken in favor of our country to break this blockade, but United States doesn't respect those initiatives. Now, it's very important because during these last days, it has been revealed from the opposition and the right wing that they ask why Venezuela has to import gasoline and additives. Before we go to that topic, let me ask Bassem how he has seen this lesson of sovereignty that Iran is giving in the region where they are. This is in the Persian Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz, that has been a very hot spot recently. Well, the people know well. They know well who Iran is. Iran is a firm position. Well, of course, this is ever since 1979. They have had a firm, coherent, and defiant against the zone. But not just defiant, just to go rebel without a cause. It's just necessary to locate on the map that Iran is surrounded by U.S. military bases. So what they are doing is they have developed weapons in a very rapid way, because the technology that Iran has is astonishing. And they have support, they have all of this military armament that is impressive. We can say how we have seen how Syria has been able to overcome this invasion of mercenaries thanks to the Russian support with all of their air strikes. but also on land with the army, next to the army that they're fighting, who have been able to stop the advance and go against Daesh and Al-Qaeda. These are groups that were built, that were constructed, fabricated by the United States. Everybody knows Iran. I think this question is better focused towards Europe. Because Europe has always followed the foreign policy of the United States. They had France, many countries had interests in oil of Venezuela, like Repsol of Spain, the French companies too, and the hydroelectric. Siemens also had interest in Venezuela. Why does Europe accept the blackmail?